well. So that could also be one of the reasons why they went for the Enigma early.
PL Enigma. I really like this lineup because it's a lineup that can fight really early as well. Like, it's not so hard for them to fight early. And it's like extremely scary to face in late game. It puts a lot of pressure on LGD, I feel like.
Yeah, and LGD once more, they've been showing this so many times. They pick their 3 cores right away from the first 3 picks. Generally, you don't see much teams or even teams that actually want to do the draft this way.
I think they will do a support silencer on LGD. Honestly, looking at the draft, there's Grave, there's Black Hole, there are some really important spells to cancel, and they have Storm Initiation. This just screams to me they want to have silencer to silence when the clock hooks and when Storm comes in. This, I like Evil Genius's PL pickup, but I don't know about the entire lineup so far.
Yeah, but then again, LGD was the team that ignores Queen of Pain because of the fact that we were discussing why, and we came up with the reason because of the cooldown. QOP's ultimate has very long cooldown. And going back to the silencer pick, it sort of has the same weakness of the Queen of Pain.
It does, but it's still every 130 seconds you can initiate with no return from the enemy. I think it's a strong weapon.
Yeah, I feel like you have to have something that breaks the Enigma BKB Black Hole as well as the Lina combo.
I mean, they have the hook so
shot,
far,
yeah.
but that's...
But back in the days, I remember people were picking Enigma versus Xiao because he's one of those players, you rarely see LGD go offensive trialing, rarely. They always want to get farm on Siler, get levels on the support. They are very stable and they're never pressured. The LGD is never the team that's like, oh, they're farming Enigma and PL, we gotta go there, we're gonna, you know, shut them down because else we're in trouble. So here he picks Shaker, and you know, at first I was like, it could be Enigma offlane, and you were thinking the same, Winter, probably because you're like, it's scary to play Enigma PL, you know, it's very greedy. But look at it, Xiao, he just doesn't care. He goes for Shaker, and it's very unlikely they go offensive with Shaker Gyro. So I feel that EG now, like, they're gonna feel very comfortable. They're gonna be able to free farm Enigma, free farm PL, Lina mid versus Storm. That's a pretty decent matchup, I'd say. And I would assume they would pick an offlaner right now.
Yeah, I have to agree because the situation has changed right now. It feels like LGD has no intention of maybe laning aggressively. So EG has a very good chance of getting away with some greedy pick.
And Darkseer is available. I don't know if it's a good hero. I feel like it can be a very decent hero for EG. When you run with, like when you have PL, Darkseer PL, I think it's a great combo to have early on. Like it's very aggressive, and Enigma Darkseer, it's so hard to fight in.
I think they need better disable. Like, I can see the idea of Darkseer, but against the Storm, if you don't have more disables right now, you're gonna struggle. The Tusk is gonna work nicely. It does have 2 different disables at least.
I mean, at this point, right, they can always swap their draft around. They can still run jungle Enigma, or they can run offlane Enigma.
It's interesting. Yeah, it's actually quite smart.
And I think EG's lineup is just a lot stronger. The laning phase, like, and as you said, LGD just has nothing to really punish it. They can just farm their Yules, farm the mech and BKB pretty much in peace.
There it goes. I still like the lineup a lot. I think they have a great draft.
Perfect call from the boys here at the desk. Time now to rejoin our commentary team for day 6 of 6. The lower bracket final is upon us, ladies and gentlemen. LGD and Blitz, it's yours.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome! We are live here on the final day of the International 2015 Blitz. It's a $10 million day of Dota 2. It promises to be amazing.
Yeah, and this is one of the best finals that you could possibly get. EG, home crowd behind them, having to go back and battle through LGD Gaming, who have a returning champion in Xiao 8.
Xiao 8, a great storyline there. The last man left standing in the tournament just got done taking out Hao to conclude the action yesterday. The only player with a chance to repeat. And on the side of EG, some amazing stories here as well. Sumail, the wonder kid who came out of nowhere and finds himself on the big stage together with Maybe, who comes in as a relatively unknown player. These two have been so impressive coming into the event, and I mean, it goes on even deeper till TI4, where EG, they fell just short, finished 3rd place in the same position last year, but this time they want to go the distance. The boys in blue wishing good luck to LGD, and we get underway. Welcome to the final day of TI5.
And Sumail, he's going to be playing Alina mid against that Maybe Storm Spirit. We've seen it so many times too. Maybe is one of the best Storms in the scene, and there aren't a lot of natural counters to it on the other side of EG, and so it's going to take a lot out of Sumail. He has to shut him down in the laning phase as hard as he can, but it's going to be difficult because it's a Storm Spirit on the Radiant side. It's incredibly hard to stop.
And he's got a lot of protection here as well, and I think the big combo that we want to keep an eye on is that offensive potential of a global into a Storm initiation, which EG really don't have great counterplay for early on, is LGD are going to go ahead and scout out the Roshan pit nice and early here, perhaps having some flashbacks to last TI when Cloud9 went for this against Vici Gaming, but of course something you always want to keep in mind when you see an Enigma won't actually be happening. Do want to take a quick look at the wards here for EG. They planted one down to block the poke camp. They are, in fact, running the jungle Enigma, and it is the flexibility of the pick that they don't have to offlane him. It seemed like LGD kind of expected it at first, so they will be going a little bit more greedy here in the laning stage blitz.
Yeah, I think the Enigma as a support is fine, even with the silencer in the game, because it is just a silencer support versus a silencer Enigma. And I don't think EG's strategy is just predicated on the black hole. I think that if you're going to pick a third especially, it's more for the laning phase, what you can provide after the 4-minute mark when you can go around roaming and pushing down towers with your Eidolons.
And that's a good point because they don't really have a whole lot of push early on outside of that. PL takes a little while to come online. Yeah, sure, you do have the Dazzle heals. We're going to see Yao actually fissure block the bottom lane just to pull the wave back. Kind of an interesting counter here to the off-lane Tusk. So we'll keep the creeps back a little bit more. They're still going to meet, and looks like the lane will push in the end anyway. But kind of a cute tactic attempted there by Yao. Meanwhile, top lane, Xiao8, he's actually the man in the off lane. He'll be playing the Clockwork, so they swap up the roles here. It's almost always been Yao off, but instead this time it is Xiao8, and his first D-ward attempt, it's a miss. Let's see if he's going to find it with a potential second sentry. MMY is going to come in, look to assist here, but that second creep spawn will be denied. And meanwhile, AUI not contested at all, and this is something worth talking about, Blitz. Generally, when we saw Enigma picks in the past, teams would try to shut his jungle down early, but it's not happening here.
Yeah, he's going to have a really good time, and AUI, one of the fastest junglers in the game, playing that Enigma, but I do want to talk about Xiao8 playing this off-lane Clockwork. This isn't something we normally see out of him. It's usually him playing the support role. We saw him beast with that Earthshaker the entire time, but I think it's just him being a little bit more comfortable with the hero. And Yao, he plays Earthshaker a ton, so this might just be more of a, okay, I feel more comfortable playing the Clockwork. You know how to deal with the Earthshaker even if you're underfarmed.
Yeah, Xiao8 is going to go in with the cogs here, burning a bit of PPD's mana. LGD were able to D-ward the camp on the second try, so they should have the creep spawning here in short order, and a 2-minute rune about to spawn. Look at our mid lane. It's maybe on the Storm versus Sumail on the Lina, and I mean, boy, oh boy, these two of the big stars coming into this match. So far, even in terms of CS, feels like Lina maybe has a slight edge in the matchup based on some of the games we've seen in the laning stage, but as you mentioned, it is a Radiant Storm, and already the jungle is being stacked up.
Yeah, and Yao rotates mid. They just have to help him out a little bit for
He's got the remnants. They're going to go for this. Sumail looks to turn with the Slave. He stuns Yao, and AUI's already rotated in. This is an unexpected move. Out comes the Salvin. First blood spilt by EG.
And that's so surprising because normally you'll see the Enigma go for the Midnight Pulse, but AUI, with that haste rune, decides to switch up his build at level 2, going for the Malefice just to help Sumail out a little bit more. And that's significant because now Sumail's definitely going to hit 6 before the Storm, and it means that maybe he has to rotate the jungle sooner than he would like.
It's the build we saw from Zai, especially back when he was on EG, the Midnight Pulse build that you mentioned, just pure efficiency off in the jungle, but it's a very unexpected rotation. AUI there in time. If he wasn't, they might have just been able to run down the Lina with the Remnant spam and the overload damage, but instead, Sumail off to a hot start now, 15-5. AUI, the one who actually gets the first blood. What do you expect out of the jungle Enigma this game? Is this an early mech rush that we'll see coming from AUI? Do we see a lot of ganks? Does he just focus on farming? Traditionally, AUI is more of a greedy jungler type of player.
Yeah, but oftentimes what you'll see him do is pick up a smoke when he's about to hit 6, and he's either going to use the first black hole of the game to gank that mid lane just to get Sumail even a better start, or he's going to head to that top lane, gank the offlaner, and push down the tower, but he usually just plays it by ear.
Well, in terms of the cores here, and I guess it's fair to call the Enigma core at this point with AUI on it and the great start he's had. They are farming exceptionally well here on EG, topping the CS charts pretty much at every position, aside from the silencers, getting a little bit more than the backup supports on EG, but yeah, it's kind of a slow and patient start here. We will see a Rocket Flare looking to scout out the Enigma. Xiao8 trying to get a bit of vision on him, but they have no wards in the enemy jungle. They will converge on the top rune. Wanting to secure this for maybe. There's vision for Sumail. He can head towards the bottom rune where currently there's no contest. And in fact, it's the regen going bottom. That's something Sumail will happily snap up.
And part of the issue with LGD's line,
well, the snipe, not so happily, not snapped up, but I guess it's time for the Bottle Crow.
Yeah, but part of the issue with LGD's lineup is because they had to pick the silencer to counter the Enigma, their lanes are kind of bad at punishing. Like this Gyrocopter is more or less by himself in this bottom lane because the Earthshaker doesn't want to just sit there and fissure for him. He wants to do things like stack the jungle, protect his mid laner, possibly set up for kills, and it's going to make it really hard for them to contest this Enigma, who, if he just wants to farm this entire time, what is the silencer actually going to do against it?
And he also is quite a bit weaker against Phantom Lancer compared to, even something like a Rubik with some good spells here to steal, which got banned out in the second phase of the draft. So it does mean Fear has a little more room to make plays as the game gets later, but still very early, and obviously you have the big team fight potential from Momoya, and he is getting his early farm. Already hits level 4. The pulls have just been going freely, and Yao's also stacking up the jungle. This is almost enough that it feels like they can just stay on pace with the Enigma. For now, AUI's ahead, but that's before the stacks get cleared out. Already about to hit 6, and you mentioned the early smoke play from him. In fact, just the boots for now, but he's got the black hole online, and that's a threat that LGD will have to be ready for.
Yeah, AUI doesn't mind using the black hole at all in the early game just to pick up 1 kill. That's usually what you're going to look for, but what really matters is where he decides to go with this. Like you said, and we had mentioned, the Enigma is really hard to punish for LGD. Like, there's almost no heroes that LGD have that can enter the jungle, even if they decide to smoke gank, especially with Xiao only being level 3 right now in the off lane.
Yeah, he's not getting as much as Universe here. Universe 4.5, and again, imagine if this is, say a Rubik, or even something like a Shadow Demon to set up for Sylar on the Gyrocopter, but it's not. As Xiao is going to contest PPD for these creeps to the north, gets the rocket off, actually steals pretty much the whole camp there. Nicely played by him. Meanwhile, Ancient's also being stacked. A lot of economy focus here coming out for LGD. They're going to grab 2 runes, a double damage top for Maybe Storm, MMY snatching up the bounty rune. This is a dangerous moment for EG, and so much of their next play is really just going to hinge on the Enigma. So far, hasn't made a move since that 2-minute gank or so.
I mean, LGD have the smart response here. Instead of just kind of forcing anything around the map, they're just stacking things passively because they realize they can't really force things with their lineup. So it's better to just play the economy game and play for the mid game where you can get a big boost, where you get a faster BKB on some of your cores, or maybe can have a better start. Because right now, you're not really going to have a lot of ganks, but I think EG at the same time are satisfied with the pace of this game, just because AUI is free farming, and at the same time, this Fear Phantom Lancer is going to get huge, and Phantom Lancer is a hero that typically doesn't have the best laning phase.
No, he's not really being contested at all. PPD has done a great job of keeping the lane back. Fear is at 49 CS, about 5 ahead of the Gyrocopter, who normally excels in this stage of the game. Sylar also doing pretty well in his own right. And the other thing for EG Blitz is there is that Roche potential. Already the Chainmail and the Headdress out for AUI. Early mech is going to be the pickup. Maybe they don't go for it naked, but if they can find that first smoke gank, rotate onto a tower, take it out, they'll have the map control they're looking for.
Yeah, they're just going to do the Ancients right now and get PPD a few more levels. I think Fear feels pretty comfortable in this top lane. He's got a level of Doppelganger up already. His farm is perfectly fine, and the Clockwork isn't going to be able to contest him early. But Xiao, off the back of this, should get a few more levels in farm, which he previously didn't have.
He's a little nervous right now, though. He's kind of hanging back at the tower. He'll throw out a rocket. He sees the PL farming it. Might be a cue for him to get aggressive, but he's still nervous about that potential rotation. And I imagine the threat of the Enigma gank is foremost on LGD's minds, to the point where it's almost just as good that they're not ganking, because they're still in LGD's head about it. The EG squad is.
All they have to really do is continue to keep up the farm, and LGD are naturally going to play back, but LGD, they're still doing the smart thing right now, stacking up the Ancients, eventually for the Gyrocopter. The Storm has caught up when it comes to net worth. He's meant to be behind Alina, and so this 300 net worth disadvantage that we see early game is perfectly fine.
It is feeling like, it's very reminiscent of TI4, where it felt like the teams that got away with the Enigma, I mean, EG really does come to mind as one of the teams that did it the most successfully at that event. They were just so far ahead after the laning stage got underway, and already we see EG having not taken a tower yet. They're up to about a 2K net worth lead, a 3,000 experience lead, as LGD look to change it. It's something we've seen a lot from Aggressive on his Gyrocopter. Now LGD take a page out of CDEC's book. They move up the river, smoked, and undercover.
Oh, they want Fear at least.
They want the opening. They may find Universe, but the rocket coming out, he starts to paint it, and now the smoke is revealed. EG haven't seen this yet. A Universe walks right into the cold out, a huge amount of focus to bring down the offlane Tusk. Forces out the TP as well from Sumail, but too late to really mount a response. He'll actually walk back, worried that they might come for him next. EG are going to be slowed down by that.
And LGD look like they want to take this top tower down, because you can't just gank an off-lane Universe. It's not going to do enough because you've committed your hard carry at the same time. Sylar's just going to TP back bottom because he realizes there's no more potential for a gank, but it is only Universe who gets killed there, and that's not too bad for them.
This is going to be a fast mech timing for AUI 2000. Already only 100 gold away. We're looking at a 10-minute 4-position Enigma mech. And he's pretty much there with every core in the game. Only 120 gold behind the enemy Storm and even a little bit more behind his own other cores. So with the mech coming out, feels like there's some potential here for EG to get aggressive.
Yeah, they want this bottom tower down. They've even committed Fear over, and
they're smoking for it.
Xiaowei, he doesn't have the mana for this, even if he were to TP.
Maybe could get caught out here. There is a global silence available, though. Who's going to get the reactions? Bottle charges coming out. Vision is here. They get down an observer ward. EG committing a smoke just for that ward, and we're scouted out on the retreats. So maybe LGD will deward this, but it's EG who also have something extra to worry about, Blitz. It's the global. We've seen this. I think Q really comes to mind with some sensational silencer play when CDEC ran it twice in the event. But if you don't use the global wisely or you get caught out, then this can quickly become a useless hero. So much of this game just going to come down to MMY's timing and reactions.
He's not actually going to get any farm. He's not one of those heroes that scale well into the late game with items. You might pick up something like a Force Staff, but largely your items are just going to be defensive. And when BKBs come online and the Lina gets an initiation item, you're quickly just going to get taken down before you can use the global, or you're going to be forced to use it incredibly inefficiently. And so you're completely right there. MMY, they have to use the global silence early, and it has to go really well for them too, because you can't justify the pick only for the Enigma at this phase of the game.
So what do you think the best way to use it is here? Do you save it to counterplay like an Enigma smoke gank? Do you try to go for an offensive play with maybe? Where do you see this global working best for LGD?
I think you just use it to play passive-aggressive. Like if EG decide to dive on you or do something overly aggressive, then you can just TP in with a lot of heroes, pop the global silence, and then maybe we'll feel incredibly comfortable going in. But at the same time, EG's got a lot of different items that can start to counter that. You see the mech finished on the Enigma. Sumail's about to pick up a Yule Scepter, and that's going to make things incredibly tough for them too.
Well, our Storm Spirit maybe not going to go for the Orchid build. It is a Bloodstone on the way for him. Gets the point booster now. He's going to continue to juggle this regen rune as he looks for an opening, but they just got dewarded top. PPD was the man to do it. Maybe regen rune's worn off, but they're still going in. They will pull the Universe back. The global comes out. There's no grave save. Does he dive deeper? The mech's going to keep him alive, even though there's not. And now he snowballs, looking for the turn. It's on 2. Universe with the Walrus Punch, but the PPD gets caught. Will catch them and keep them away. And now the call out comes through. Sylar rains down the pain. EG trapped by a fissure. Where's the hole? He can't get it off. LGD, the first global, a brilliant success. Although Fear may take down Xiaowei here, Illusions will finish him off. Salvaging the fight, make it a 3-for-1, and they still have their black hole available. But Blitz, this tower about to fall. Normally that Dazzle Grave so strong, and you know the analysts talked a lot about it, but this silencer is multi-purpose.
I mean, PPD was trying to run forward, but he was just outside the range. He only has that single level of the shallow grave, so it's not as effective. And I think he just misjudged it by a little bit, and it cost him so much. And if Universe was able to survive there, maybe they can bait around it and get the black hole off, because he lived for so long with the help of the Enigma black hole and his own snowball. But I mean, LGD came full force, prepared to fight 5-on-5.
It almost felt like the mech was going to be the counter to the global silence there. He was very tanky, but fortunately does end up falling here. LGD grabbing an objective, and what was once a 3,000 gold lead early for EG has now swung about 4,000 the other way. Still a very even game overall. EG, haven't really seen them go for a big objective here yet. They got the ward down on their previous smoke. And they still have the black hole online. They know global's down for a little bit longer. Where do you reckon they're going to go, Blitz?
I mean, EG want to start forcing down towers. They know the global silence is on cooldown, so this does open up an opportunity for AUI to use the single or 2-man black hole, at least to start the fight. And they've got Sumail who has a Yule Scepter, but I mean, LGD, they're just playing passive right now because they can. They've got stacks up for the in the jungle. They've got the Gyrocopter who's actually farming them right now. He's got an Ancient stack ready for him at the same time. If this pace continues, then all LGD have to do is farm out the jungle, farm out the Ancients, and then they've got the global silence back up in 2 seconds.
Well, the man who is farming really well here for EG is Sumail. He's also picked up the Yule Scepter. He already has the level 2 ultimate at scarcely 14 minutes. That Laguna Blade is a lot of damage at this stage. You look at Yao, 853 health. The Laguna before reduction gonna deal out 675. Just waiting for EG to make their first move, but now the global is cooled down and they go in onto Sumail. The global comes out again. Same old recipe. Yules will purge it. Is it going to give them time for the grave? The mech, the big save. Now the echo, not enough. Sumail kept alive. The black hole trying to turn this further, but maybe balls back in. He'll get the kill. He looks to run away, and he's got a haster, and so he scurries to freedom. And Sylar comes from the south, and he finds Universe next. A 2 for 2. Global and black hole both expended, and maybe looking for more. Doppelganger back. Fear on the way out here. The sigil will cover the path of retreat. And in the end, LGD, well, they fight through the mech and the black hole, and what looked like a brilliant save from the Yules, and still make it an even fight.
Yeah, AUI expends the black hole there, catches Xiao 8 and holds LGD back, but LGD just have a little bit too much in the tank. Maybe is so farmed at this phase of the game right now. 15 minutes in, he almost has his Bloodstone completed, just 700 gold away or so, and I mean, Fear wanted to get the last hit on him, and that would have helped so much because he's gone for this Yasha build. He's really quick, and
so
the fights are there.
It's a different PL build, right? When we saw Aggressive play this, he normally goes into the Aquila, the drums, and then straight into a Diffusal Blade. So with this Yasha build, what's the objective? What's the kind of the difference in approach here?
I mean, you farm a lot quicker, but you just don't have the stats to back yourself up. Like, you notice that Fear just has to run away in the beginning of these fights, but...
Oh, maybe. He's been caught out bottom. Nowhere to go. Sumail zaps him down, and that will slow the snowball. Very nice pick. Now looking for Xiao 8, he's going to find an additional stun. Where's the backup, though? Throwing out a Slave, but the Fissure to counter it. Sumail as he overextended. Snowball's coming to try and save him. He stays alive. They keep him healthy. PPD with the save, but now a follow-up grave is Sylar. Finishes off 3 almost, but not quite. Mech again. EG just keep on surviving. Fissure will cool down. It only connects on 1, just catching the Tusk. A little bit of a counterplay and the TP out. AUI makes it home safely. Dear Lord, I don't know how Sumail lived through that. This guy is a miracle maker, Blitz.
Every single time AUI is there with the mech, and sometimes it's not enough to save his teammates, but his positioning this entire game has been relatively flawless. The problem for them, though, is that EG still struggle to win these engagements right now, and I mean, Sylar just continues to pick up farm. He's 4-0-1. There's still an Ancient stack readily available for him, and this is still an LGD advantage game, but the Phantom Lancer now picks up the Boots of Travel, and you start to see Fear's focus is incredibly farm-oriented.
Well, speaking of farm, MMY, it looks like he wants to pick up a Midas here, so is going for a Silencer build that can scale more into the late game.
Sumail smoke up.
He may get caught out here, he may be punished, but there's the counter initiation, maybe going in with the pull, drops him back, the hook as well. Sumail completely caught out and didn't have the Yules to use defensively as he threw it down for the initial engagement. That is a global still online, and LGD look to push in. They will now have a Midas once this tower falls. EG, no blink on the Enigma. AUI going to rush a BKB, it looks like, which means no real ability to jump in here and try to hold this tower.
Yeah, but LGD, that's the weakness of the Lina going for the Yule Scepter first, is that when you commit the Yules to one of the support heroes, maybe he's just going to jump in every single time if he feels confident that his team's not behind him. And most of EG did show themselves in that bottom lane, and that alerted him to the fact that Sumail was most likely alone just looking for a pickoff, and that hurts a lot just because the Storm now has his Bloodstone.
Maybe with a very fast timing here, just needs to pick up that recipe. He'll do it now. And the Midas also coming online. LGD gearing up for a potentially fearsome mid game and even into the late game. If it gets to that point, Blitz, where buybacks are very expensive, and you know, if you imagine this game going potentially an hour, Global Silence is just such a trump card to have at your disposal, especially with the farm.
Yeah, but at the same time, Fear, I mean, he just continues to farm away. 0-0-1, hasn't participated in too many fights, but this is a saving grace for EG right now, as he hasn't been contested, and there's not a whole lot that LGD can do to contest him, unless they blow the Global Silence.
LGD on a bit of a ramble here. They've smoked up Xiao 8, throwing out the initial rocket. Destination Roshan is what Xiao 8 cries out as the team moves through the Radiant jungles. AUI, he's just been parked at these Ancients. Feels like this has become his new home. Spent a lot of time farming these, giving the rest of the map to their other heroes on the team as maybe looks for the jump. They have the global ready, but they want to make sure they get a clean pick. EG a bit far back, and instead they swing on towards mid, where Sumail is also hanging back. Nobody showing on the map. The bottom lane pushing in a bit. Mid is past the river, though. This isn't super obvious. Now a rocket, and the hook, they're going to go on PPD here, trapping him out with the battery salt to follow up pull, but he gets up the grave in time. PPD will hold himself alive. No counterplay from EG. They'll sacrifice their captain. for the greater good. Another pick for LGD and the Bloodstone charges. Let the farming for maybe commence. Echo, Yao gets caught out. Sumail, he finds one on the retreat out. Easy pick that was, frankly, unexpected.
They also used the global silence at the same time, so EG might feel incredibly good about this. I think the global and the Echo Slam were used just to kill that.
And they only get a support out of that.
Yeah, and so I think EG are going to feel really comfortable about this. They know that LGD have already expended most of their smokes, if not all of them, and they've got one left over, but EG.
This might be where they get aggressive blitz. They've got the Enigma BKB coming soon. Pressure mounts on the middle lane. The tower's going to drop. AUI looking for the last hit, and he'll get it. No hook shot available. No way to counterplay this. And now they move in. 3 heroes from EG going to rotate on the top. They're going to look to take 2 tier 1s off the back of just the death of an Earthshaker and a misused global silence, and it seems LGD will have to sacrifice a large swath of map control as a result. The rocket comes in, but there's just no sign of a defense. It looks like just a small mistake from Yao, but it's really going to put the hurt to LGD.
And Fear getting the last hit. His Phantom Lancer is starting to get incredibly farmed right now, and EG, I mean, they're a punishing lineup. That Enigma, this is what allows it. You don't really
3
pick it for the
towers.
black hole. It's for the mech, and then you just continue to push with it.
Oh, they do Fissure to stall this one out as the illusions will be slowly ramping up. In the front lines here, Mech gets popped. Everything coming online relatively soon for LGD, except for the global silence. And with that still down, EG feel emboldened. Now all tier 1s for LGD down. They're going to TP AUI down towards the bottom lane. And the way to Roche looks more and more promising for the boys in blue.
They don't have the medallion quite yet on PPD, and so that might delay them a little bit, but Fear, I mean, he's almost got a fully completed Diffusal Blade. He's got the Yasha and the Boots of Travel. EG are going to have a really sick timing where the Enigma finishes his BKB, Sumail's about to get his Aghanim Scepter, and Fear's about to get his Diffusal Blade. And with all of those items behind them, they might want to get aggressive, but LGD, they use up one of their last smokes.
They do have a ward here in the jungle. They saw Fear moving around earlier, but not quite sure exactly where he is, and the smoke is not broken just yet. They've only got 1 more smoke, and it's coming in a minute and a half. After that, LGD won't have a smoke for a long time, so they really do need to make this one count blitz, but they're not finding anything. EG are well aware. They're reading LGD perfectly, and they're just going to hang back in the base while they split push the top lane. It does allow LGD to converge on this tier 2 mid though, and it looks like they're going to try to threaten this tower. Sylar with the BKB, getting very difficult to bring down on his own. No Aghanims as of yet on Sumail, so EG will just slow roll it. They may even sack this tower and just go for the split push. No defense coming yet.
They don't necessarily have to defend because they know that LGD have picked up their major items. The Bloodstone on Storm, Sylar picking up his BKB, but EG have some room to grow. They want the Aghanim Scepter minimum on Sumail before they get into this next fight. And the BKB is now completed on AUI, and now EG have actually hit a really nice timing for themselves.
It does open up the mid lane though, as you see quite a few LGD heroes. Oh, they find the courier. A freebie for maybe. That was a bit unexpected for EG. Looked like they thought LGD would just back straight away after taking the tower mid, but some extra gold going to the Radiant squad.
This is really annoying because this is going to force Sumail back, and AUI actually uses TP at the same time, but EG, they've got the BKB on the Enigma. Now they've got pretty much all of their tier 2, tier 3 items.
And they've almost got the medallion you mentioned. He's got 850 gold. Oh, the Echo bottom lane. They made it go in Fear. Global coming out, but they need more lockdown to bring Fear down. He's got the Diffusal Blade. Hook is there. It's on to PPD. Only getting support for this, but they're going to commit heavily. Does he get off the defensive save? There's a snowball. Keeping him alive, but dragging him deep behind enemy lines. They'll drag him back a bit further. PPD totally caught out, but it buys time for the team. Coming in is Fear. Maybe kill the damn Dazzle. Finally, he'll bring him down, but it took them ages. Fear with another Lance, maybe we'll dodge it. LGD Committee of Global only getting a Dazzle. EG still finding pretty solid trades, and now with Black Hole and BKB online, they're going in. Look for AUI to turn this. Find Sylar, but he's BKB'd. He's not taking damage, and Fear's trapped pretty far back. Can they bring them down? Rocket Barrage doing the work they need. LGD turning this. Sumail waiting. He's got no Laguna left. He already chunked it out, and now can't really do the damage on his own. Trapped in the trees. Yao's gonna fall. Fear fights more. They're gonna get the Earthshaker 2, 4, dead, possibly 5. MMY on the run. No escape, no mercy. He'll die as well. And it's an ultra for the young Sumail.
Wow, and maybe even flies in, unable to really fight anything after that. And EG with the most dominant fight so far of this game. Sumail managing to get an ultra kill, and I mean, EG just have so much money after this fight right now. All of them topping 1,000 gold.
It's just taking so damn long to kill PPD. They get the snowball off. We've seen the mech saves. Then he graves himself, and by the time he dies, it's like, great, you've gotten a Dazzle, you've committed your global, your Echo Slam, your Storm's Monopool, and then they just don't have the follow-up blitz.
That's a really bad sign right now for LGD, because that was largely a 2v5, 3v5 engagement for almost half of the fight or more, and LGD still weren't able to win it or bring anybody down right now, and you're just seeing the lack of damage on their cores.
Well, AUI up to 1,200 gold here. We could see that Blake coming out next. He's going to get eyes on Maybe. Maybe doesn't want to go in, and he will go into the Orchid build. So let's talk a little bit about what LGD do from here, Blitz. They obviously lose a lot of momentum from that fight. The Storm is slowed down quite a bit as well. Down to 7 Bloodstone charges from the 9 he had. MMY, he has picked up a Perseverance, so it looks like he's going to go straight into the Refresher on the Silencer.
I think if you're LGD, you just have to take smart fights. You have to be more intelligent about how you initiate, because PPD right now with the Grave is doing a little bit too much. You either have to blow him up immediately. You use the Earthshaker Fissure, you commit the Storm to it, kill him because the Grave is just doing a little bit too much. Or you just look for the counter initiations yourself with that MMY global.
They're falling in. They're going on Sumail. They get up the pole here. Hook's going to follow it up. Yules is available, and he'll throw it out. He's going to bounce off the cogs, though, as the global comes out. Sumail dead off the bat. A better start. Xiao may be punished here by Fear. Brought low, but he makes it home. And they end a mega kill streak on the Lina. That's another Bloodstone charge, bringing Maybe back to dead even here at 8.
Yeah, and this is what they need right now. Sumail, they use a lot for it. I mean, they expended the global silence, but it's probably worth it just for the spree and to help your mid laner out a little bit more. Is Maybe really close to that level 16, but so is Sumail and EG. They've got the medallion completed on the Dazzle. This might just mean that they want to go for the Roshan, because they know that LGD aren't going to commit a fight without the global silence. So the smoke flies in. Fear can TP into this mid lane if he wants. He's got a fully completed Manta style now too, and once Sumail gets up, I think EG can just commit for the Roshan.
Dear Lord, he is farmed. And at the same time, Yao has gotten a Blink Dagger. So big initiation potential. They did not have it in the last fight. You mentioned instantly blowing up Dazzle. This may be a tool to do it, or just to catch someone out before the Grave comes into play. But EG are pinning out the bottom lane, and it's like you said, with the global on cooldown, now is your time to head towards Roche. And fortunately for EG, there's a double damager in here. They actually smoke. Are they just going to blindly smoke into the pit? Do they look for a kill? We're about to find out, but with this DD, this should be a fairly straightforward Roche, as long as LGD don't come to contest.
Oh, the Rocket's been expended at bottom lane too, and this is so smart from EG. They're showing the Eidolons in this bottom lane so that LGD have no idea that this is happening. LGD is under the impression that EG are going to need the Eidolons just to be able to do it, but AUI tanks it really quickly. The Frozen Sigil slows this down so much, and Sumail picking up that DD, this is going to make this so quick, and I think this is going to go on Sumail.
Sumail will grab the Aegis. EG, another big objective for them. Golden experience, very close here. Basically a dead heat through 27 minutes. Lots of late game on both teams, but EG now with the extra tool that they can put to use, giving Sumail the freedom to get more aggressive, and also what will aid and fuel the aggression here, Blitz, is he's almost got the level 3 ult, and at which point you're looking at 950 damage. That's over half the Storm's health. It's about half the Gyro's, a little bit over too, and it's almost a one-shot on Yao's Earthshaker. 1,000, the clockwork of Xiao Wei around that 1,500 mark. MMY is actually going to live with about 10 HP if he gets Lagoon.
I mean, at this point, you probably don't want to expend it on one of the supports unless they've used all of their abilities, but it does speak to how leveled and how farmed Sumail is at 28 minutes in the game. He's kept up in levels with the Storm Spirit, who's had better initiations than him most of this game, and I mean, that's the strength of Storm, but maybe he's going to finish that Orchid, and I think this is what's going to allow them to start winning these fights, because he can just go for PPD in the backline, silence them up, you throw down the global at the same time, and then there's very little they can do to save PPD.
And they also don't have to commit the global if it's like a hero alone. At that point, you can save the global, just use the Orchid, and if it's someone like the Dazzle, he's got no way to save himself at that point.
MMI looks like he wants to build for the Refresher, and this Midas pickup is looking smarter and smarter by the second, because there's no way he would have this amount of farm otherwise.
No, absolutely not. And It also gives them the levels, gives the global silence that extra duration. Of course, the mana cost ramps up rather dramatically here. Could become a problem for him. It's already 375 for the global. That's before the refresher usage, but I imagine we'll see him get something to aid with that soon. As EG make an aggressive movement into the Radiant jungle, they've got the whole team pretty much in the area, and they're going to get eyes on mid, where Sylar is waiting, but he's got to worry about this Aghanim Scepter ultimate to come out from Sumail. He will BKB dodge the stun, but that forces out a very long duration of BKB. The 9-second charge is down, and it's also just on cooldown as well, which means MMY is left alone, trapped deep behind the Radiant lines, but there's no backup as of yet until Xiaowei comes in too late. They've lost MMY, and Fear's gotten onto Xiaowei, muscling his way right through the Clockwork's armor. Makes him look rather squishy. Carved him up like a turkey there, he did. EG now gonna push on mid. Guardian Greaves get popped. They still have the BKB Black Hole. There is a buyback on Silencer, but with no Clockwork and no hook shot, this may be cue for EG to start threatening even the tier 3 tower.
They've got the Guardian Greaves up. I mean, LGD, they still have the global silence, so he can just wait out AUI's BKB, but at the same time, AUI can just not pop it. He can just wait and say, okay, are you really just not going to use the global the entire fight? They'll take that trade at this phase of the game.
Another tower dropping here. EG starting to extend their map control and along with it their lead. And now they pick up a BKB on Sumail, making him much more durable in these fights. Probably doesn't even need the Grave in most cases to stay alive at this point. Still the physical damage for LGD not quite there. Sylar hasn't purchased his next component, up to 3,500 gold, and EG going for the last outer tower this game, but LGD want to contest it. Yao, he's been revealed and they initiate onto AUI 2000. PPD's there. Where's that global? They pop it now. PPD not able to save. It's Enigma. They've lost 2 off the bat, and a pause will come out from MMY as the fight's basically over at this point, it looks like. There is a little bit of mana on the Storm, but not really enough to chase.
They did use the Earthshaker Echo Slam and the Call Down plus the BKB with the Global Silence. You get 2 heroes there. It is a good trade for them. They're probably going to just deny the tower and back out, but at the same time, it's not like you lost Sumail or Fear.
Yeah, you lose your Enigma here. It's really a 4-position support that's kind of become a core, and you lose the Tusk, who's probably more of the actual 4-position for Universe at this stage, more just there for the sigil and utility play. And Blitz, game's going to have a moment here for the teams to collect their thoughts, so let's kind of walk through this team by team here as we've got a lot of excited fans behind us. Let's start with LGD. The position LGD's in now, how do you approach the game?
I think if you're LGD, all you have to do is continue to play this type of passive-aggressive style. Let EG push into you at this point, because it's incredibly hard for them to start a fight. If they don't know where the Enigma is, he walks in with the BKB Black Hole, and you've already used the Global Silence, it's so hard for you to take the fight.
And you've probably already used your hook shot as well, because it's normally Xiaowei starting the fights here.
Yeah, exactly. Starting a fight right now for LGD, a little bit too difficult, unless you immediately get the jump off on a core. But that gets increasingly harder when Fear has a Manta style. You've got BKBs on 2 of your cores already. You've got the PPD Dazzle who's about to pick up his Glimmer Cape, so it's a little bit too difficult for LGD to just pick up blind fights. For EG, all they have to do is play this game patiently. Fear's getting an insane amount of farm. He's keeping up in net worth. You've got a lot of different ways to lock down the Storm Spirit. You're not too worried about him. And Sumail, I mean, he still has that Aghanim Scepter, and the BKB charges are running out.
All right, well, with that, we'll get more breakdown as we'll hand it off to the analyst while we wait for this pause to finish up.
Thank you very much, LD and Blitz down there. Just got a little pause in play, and probably a good time for you guys to chip in with where we're at. Malini, what do you think so far?
LGD hasn't been terribly crisp with their execution. We've seen a lot of wasted globals. I think that one time that at Secret Shot where Lina solo killed the Shaker, they actually blew 2 ultimates. He tried to Echo to stop him, and they blew global to save him. And then they're going to capitalize on every single opportunity that they miss these global silences. And if he gets initiated on, we saw the miss 4 staff. It's just not crisp from LGD. At the same time, there is a silencer building the refresher, so they have that going for them. But at the same time, the Enigma has BKB and Greaves, ways to get out of 2 global silences.
I think LGD, in a couple of situations, they were trying very hard to save their teammates, like what Ben mentioned, blowing a global just to save a support. Not sure if it's worth it at the end of the day. And Xiaowei, like a few moments ago, he was trying to hook shot and trying to save the silencer when he was being jumped by the Lina. So,
like, there are a bit of misplays, sure, but I feel like for example, that last fight, LGD played it perfectly, but it's also AOI's fault in the sense that the only hero of EG that can actually counter LGD's initiation, you know, EG, they're on the offensive, first of all. That's why they died. And that's a good thing. It's very good that they pressure LGD because they can. They understand that they can because of that Enigma, BKB, and Greaves. Because whoever they go on, it's very easy for Enigma to just pop the BKB, and they have the defensive hold, so it's very fair. Like my point is that Storm can't jump anyone besides Enigma. If he jumps Enigma, then they can fight, because with Global, no one's going to be able to save AUI, but they have to burst him down though, and that's what happened. But if he jumps anyone else, Enigma is always going to be the backup solution for EG.
Wagner, agree?
So far, yeah, I agree, but so far they've been doing a pretty good job. As you said, they did waste some Global, but they have done a good job between Xiao 8 and maybe. Xiao 8 playing the Clockwork in this game is kind of interesting to note as well, because he's the offlaner this game. So they're mixing it up, but we talked about it during the game, and they're not doing what Fnatic did, which is realize that you're losing a lot and switch up the players then. They actually have won 2 series in a row, and now they're mixing up the players a little bit, and they did it previously as well.
Yeah, we suspected it was maybe because of the Tusk, since Yao is the specialized player for that hero, but this game there's no Tusk, there's Earthshaker. So we are not sure why it's happening. It could be the fact that they want to put Xiao 8 onto the Clockwork more, but during the group stages, Yao has been playing on very good.
Is it a hero thing or is it a player thing in terms of how they match up, do you think?
It might be actually a player thing, because when I looked at the games before, Xiao 8 maybe he didn't really play Earthshaker as well as his Clockwork, so probably they felt that they could actually add one more hero to the situation where Yao is going to be playing a support, which is the Earthshaker.
I want to mention a bit more about the game. I feel like EG is in a very good spot. Fear is going to go for BKB. It's going to help him a lot, and like, it's very smart from AUI to get the Greaves before the Blink Dagger, because it's going to make him relevant. He doesn't know when Silence is going to get a refresher. It could be quite soon, and they could be surprised by it because he's having a really good game. So he's actually quite close, but they don't know that, obviously. But so I like the decision from AUI. He's going to be a factor all the time. They can count on this Enigma because he has 2 ways to get rid of the silences. It's still tough for him. He's going to have to wait with the black hole, because even if you have 2 ways to get out of silence, if you use the black hole and you get silence, I mean, then...
That's the thing, like, if he has 2 ways to get out, that doesn't really matter when there's refreshing.
Okay, I think we can go back to the commentary team. LD, it's all yours.
All right, folks, we're back. Xiao 8 just missed his hook shot here, trying to find that 3rd kill after the pause, but did not connect. So EG, they escape with Blitz, only 2 losses here in the end.
Yeah, but at the same time, LGD's BKBs are starting to go down real low. As Sylar, he's only got 7 seconds left on his BKB, and LGD have to expend so many ultimates just to kill 1 hero right now, and that's got to be a little bit of cause for concern for them.
That's where you really want this refresher on the silencer, it feels like. MMY up to 1,700 gold now, so he is closing in on the 2nd Perseverance. We'll see. Xiao 8 moving towards top. Look, he's actually very close to Fear. Fear doesn't know it. Tries to find the opening, but Hookshot's still cooling down for 10 seconds. He does have a 4-stab, but can't really get it done alone. Maybe was thinking about a rotation. But that Fear BKB is drawing nigh, and as the analysts were discussing, this gives him a lot of freedom to get aggressive in these fights.
Yeah, and he can start to use the diffusal on his teammates, I think, just to purge the global off, and we've got a lot of different options right now to deal with LGD's lineup, but...
Yeah, you've got the Greaves, the triple BKB. It's about to be, well, actually it is a triple now. And the Diffusal and Manta, as you mentioned. So they've got, what is that, 5 ways to purge it? That is, not to mention maybe the Grave to save someone after the global wears off. So lots of potential here for EG to survive, along with the Snowball. Very strong defensive lineup if they can get their cooldowns off.
Yeah, and at the same time, Sumail, he's got that 10-second BKB still up, and EG, they've got a lot of different advantages right now to work with. They might want to just wait for the next Aegis, as it just does fade right now, but actually, they go for the smoke. They want to get aggressive right now.
Let's see, where do EG head? They move down into the Radiant jungle. It's PPD, the man in front right now. Universe close behind with the Blink Dagger available. Perhaps just on a warding mission. They're dangerously close though to maybe. They get vision up the hill. They're going to start with the Walrus Punch, but Sumail wasn't quite ready for this, and now he's going to be punished with a counter hook shot. Look for AUI. He's got the BKB Black Hole, but he's trapped out for now. Global is already, well, not available for the fight, but it's going to cool down just in time. Maybe they can kill off more as DG continue to chase, and they will lose Universe. Feels like it could have been worse if that Global was ready, though.
They're just struggling right now to initiate and actually start fights. Universe goes in, but they don't have any follow-up for him quite yet. The Cogs blocking them all, so they all have to run around, and Sumail having to use the BKB just to stay alive, and LGD get away with a lot there.
And I just keep on looking at MMY. The 2nd Perseverance up, now up to 600 gold as he uses the Midas again. He is dangerously close to a double global, and it's also going to be a level 2 ultimate, closing in on level 3 here. Now, of course, you can't really use 2 in one fight with the mana cost, but you can just go back to well and have another to go. If there's a jump in, a bold move for maybe. Looks like it may be punished. No, the global. MMY bails him out, and there is no follow-up, it appears. So he will make it out. Getting a bit over-aggressive there, but fortunately, that's the veteran Momoya to keep him safe.
Yeah, but that is a global used, and I mean, EG seem like they're perfectly content with dragging this out, but that's still 110 seconds where there's no real way to stop the black hole anymore, and LGD might get a little bit concerned because Sumail, he's marching forward down this mid lane. It does look like they want to start getting aggressive.
Slaving out the lane, just keeping the pressure going, and meanwhile in the top lane, Illusion's also threatening to keep Maybe back, who's picked up the plate mail. Looks like he's going to be headed towards a Shiva's guard. EG, just their general positioning, Blitz has gotten a lot more aggressive over the past 10 minutes or so. Normally in the enemy jungle, there's the hook though. Trying to catch out PPD, Sumail's there, he 4 steps away. He's gonna dodge the light trigger right now, thrown up in the air by the ult, but they silence PPD. No backup for him as of yet, running out of mana is Maybe, but they get the kill. LGD again striking. It's been these hooks from Xiao doing so much work for the team.
Yeah, even that Force Staff escaping Sumail's stun, just making it difficult for him to help out. And all of a sudden, Maybe's got so much farm. He's got a fully completed Shiva's guard. You've got the Bloodstone on him up to 12 charges.
He's getting pretty big. I mean, how do you see this going late? There is the PL of Fear getting very farm, but there's a double global. Maybe is getting his items. Do you think EG matches up well against LGD later on?
I think they do. They've got a lot of different ways to deal with the Storm when it comes to the ultra late game. The Gyrocopter might be a little bit of cause for concern for them, and like you said, probably the biggest thing is just that double global silence when your BKB start running thin. EG are a team that really heavily rely on spell usage. The only physical damage dealer they really have on their team anymore is Fear, and Sumail's largely had to build defensively this entire game.
They do have that Laguna for Sumail, and at this point, it's well into level 3 territory here, so it's a lot of damage from him as well, but only a 1 target. Maybe may have 2 lives in these upcoming fights. We'll see LGD reclaim control of their jungle. EG forced into a bit of a more defensive position now as they back off. They'll continue farming as well. PPD, he has picked up the gem here. We'll see more wards coming out. And they kind of back off. The next Roshan coming in about a minute and a half, so we could have a big fight brewing in the very near future.
I actually think that's what EG are deciding to wait for or look for. Going for the high ground against a Storm plus Earthshaker is a little bit too risky, especially when you've got the global silence backing you up. So if you're going to look for a fight outside of the base, the Aegis is a really safe one to take.
Xiao, he's the man in front again. He throws out a rocket. He's now got an Ags as well, so he can really toy with EG in these fights if they don't burst him off the bat. Prolong them, and as the BKBs go down, it gives them a lot more freedom to get aggressive here. As you mentioned. Now another item picked up for Sylar. He's worked his way into a Demon Edge, and it hasn't really felt like a traditional Gyrocopter game. There's the refresher, though. The LGD fans giving a bit of a cheer here in Key Arena. This could be the difference maker if used properly, and that is of course the big thing with the Silencer.
He's also level 15 right now. Like, that's so surprising to me that he's just
it's
like
the Midas.
half a level away.
It's the Midas. It does so much.
But I think LGD,
they did see the
they have
rush.
to know about this.
Oh, they know. The rocket's already coming out. In goes the lead stun, and immediately they're on the hunt, heading straight towards the pit. They are smoked up here, looking for the quick engagement. Sigil, flight high over the Roche pit. EG are going to get jumped immediately. Sumail caught. There's the first global, looking for the counterplay, but maybe some of the high ground. There's the cooldown. Jake keeping kept alive for now. Then the second global coming out. Sumail kept in place. Sumail almost dead, and he's going to, he gets saved. He's saved again by PPD. He's still trapped over as Yao goes in with the Echo, and AUI 2000 unable to do a whole lot, but they still hang on. They'll kill off the backliners, maybe. The Bloodstone! Oh, he grabs it. Oh, that was too close for comfort, but they expend a double global. They still lose 3 there. They do force the Lina buyback, but EG emerge victorious, and they will grab the Roshan now.
I think that was the game. If they managed to kill his Bloodstone or pick it up, you saw Fear commit to it.
That's a 13 Bloodstone charge as well. MMY, this is how he's got the mana blitz. He's packing mangoes. It wasn't enough there, though. The Grave came out. They have so many freaking saves.
They know the double global silence is down. They've got the Aegis advantage as well. Fear is stacked to the gills. I think this is finally going to mean the push for EG, and they don't have the black hole, but their team isn't relying on it right now. Fear's almost got the BKB up. Same with Sumail.
And they're going in hard here. A lot of the big cooldowns not available. Yao's Echo Slam also not, as the ball lightning comes, jump onto Sumail, trying to bait out some abilities here. Only the Guardian Greaves pop for now. And Fear, the man in front, threatening and zoning LGD back. Fissure will stall this, a decent hold so far, but Sumail continues to plink away from the low ground and does decent damage, bringing the tier 3 tower down. EG closing in on the opening racks here of your lower bracket finals, and Xiao Ada goes in. Hook, then a force, but they set up on the Storm Spirit. Can they chain stun him down? They get the Water's Punch! See ya! There's the Laguna as well. A great call down from Sylar. Then the buyback. It's an instant triple! Maybe! Racking up Bloodstone charges, holding the line, and now onto Fear. Hell drop as well! LGD pulling out the miracle hold. Oh, goodness gracious. They underestimated the gyrocopter blitz. They tank a double call down, the flat cannon, and then the storm buyback. Just free
he rolls into all of them with that Shiva's popped. That buyback, I thought it was a little bit questionable for a second because he was going to respawn real soon, but it easily pays off as he picks up 4 right there.
How crazy is that? They lose the fight with 2 globals, and they win the fight with 0. LGD, maybe it's better MMY doesn't have these available.
I just think that EG got a little bit too over-aggressive. Like you said, they didn't really respect the damage of the gyrocopter. I think it's almost like they over-focused on the Storm Spirit. They're like, okay, the Storm's down. Even if they take the fight here, we've got this.
Well, Sylar working on that next item, and I guess he'll have a little more attention on himself now, as he is closing in on the potential MKB, Rapier, Daedalus. We'll see what the choice is going to be. Fear, up until this point, no evasion on him. They also have not gotten a Solar Crest, so the flexibility is there for Sumail. We'll get into this bottom lane. Can't believe there's still a tier 1 tower up for EG at this stage of the game, especially against such an objective-focused team as LGD. But, well, it's objectives they want. It's objectives they'll get. LGD striking back, taking the tower. The rack's exposed now mid, but they've got to be feeling a whole lot more confident after that hold.
I mean, all of these fights are so close. They're incredibly back and forth, but it did cost a buyback from the Storm Spirit. We shouldn't forget about that. Like, the fight easily could have still gone EG's way if it wasn't for the buyback. EG are aware that that isn't up. They might just wait for the next Roshan before they go for the racks this time around, because EG know all they have to do is win one dominant fight, and they're inside LGD's base, and they've got an incredibly fast base pushing team. LGD at the same time, they've got to feel pretty emboldened after that last fight. They didn't have either of the global silences. That fight in the Roshan pit seemed ideal for them for a second, but at the same time, it wasn't the best positioning from their heroes to work with.
Yeah, they didn't even have the Echo Slam there for that particular fight. Got used in the Roche pit as well. And maybe it's up to 13 Bloodstone charges, so, you know, maybe the pseudo buyback that coming from the quick Bloodstone respawn could be sufficient, as he does find himself a regen rune. Xiao Wade scouting and heading towards the north. He gets a rocket out onto Sumail, and they ball in onto him. They're going to try to focus him here, but they got up the grave. PPD, quick reactions. LGD looks like they may just disengage and fully retreat. Yeah, it already blinked forward. Now they've got to run away. Fear's going to doppelganger down to the low ground. Oh, no, he's not. He'll play it safe. Now he goes, but a bit too late. LGD will make it out. Meanwhile, ratting it up top is maybe. Gotta be careful here. Sumail's coming in with the Yules, the long ball away as they try to catch him still. They even TP'd themselves back to the tier 3 tower to attempt that, but not able to catch him in the end. So he'll slow down the lanes and he will make it out.
And EG, they can't really react to that. There's almost no chance that you kill the Storm Spirit in that regard, because the Enigma doesn't have the Blink Dagger. He doesn't want to just use the Black Hole maybe for the chance as he flies by. It's just a little bit too difficult, but LGD, I mean, they're still in a scary position because EG definitely have the offensive potential to just take down one of your racks. You lose a fight trying to defend that, and then the game just ends. So LGD, they've just got to wait for it right now and look for more ideal fights.
And this could be the item blitz. AUI 2000, he's gone back for a Blink Dagger here. A lot more mobility, can also protect himself as well as look for the Blink Black Hole with the BKB. Only the hook shot and the globals to cancel that. Still has to be patient. There are potentially 3 opportunities here for LGD to shut it down in the team fight.
I think they know the global is still down originally from that last thing at top.
He did have refresher, but it turns out he's not opted to use it. 45 seconds.
I mean, I think he just wants to wait it out, but EG, they're just 5-manning around the map right now. They know that the potential is strong for maybe to just strike halfway across the map, instantly blow one of them up, and move on. And EG, it's incredibly hard for them to stop that with their lineup, and so they have to protect each other, sit behind each other, and just prepare for it. And this is the phase of the game where you can get away with 5-manning because most of your heroes have the items that they're going to have by the end of the late game.
What's the next item here for the Storm Blitz? Up to about 2,300 gold. Do you look for Hex, BKB,
I
What's
think
the direction for maybe?
a Lincoln's is okay if you just want to dodge the Yule Scepter stun combo, because that is still a potential way for maybe to die. Like, he doesn't have any defensive items at all. But I think the Hex is a lot more likely. If you can initiate on Sumail before he gets the BKB off, blow him up with everything. You expend the Global Silence, the Echo Slam to follow, it doesn't matter. You take away the primary damage dealer from EG, and then you just play the numbers game.
As for Sumail, he's picked up a Perseverance, so potential Lincolns for himself, potential Refresher. We'll see what he wants to grab. As the Satanic for Sylar comes online, he didn't go for the MKB. He backed off for more durability here. He's getting a lot more difficult to burst down in these fights, even with the Laguna, still just a bit over a third of his HP. EG are on the smoke here. They've been all over the Radiant jungle, already retreating out, however, is the majority of LGD. MMY is the man that might get caught out here. MMY, oh, this could be bad if he is killed off, and it looks like he might be trapped by the snowball. He's got no TP. Walrus Punch the follow-up, and reinforcements are arriving. Just no way out for him. Is he going to have buyback gold is the question. They're already looking to push in the top lane. And it doesn't look like he will have buyback blitz, but fortunately that top lane is shoved very far out for LGD. EG, they don't have the creep momentum, and in fact they're still going to get a tower, even with the death of the Silencer, down for a full minute. But it seems EG may not be able to punish this.
Yeah, and maybe he's got a DD rune at the same time. EG have to be aware of that. They don't want to take a fight during that time. The Storm is already the thorn in your side, and with the DD rune, it's going to be almost impossible to stop him. And EG are just going to back up a little bit.
He's going out.
He's just trying to force an overreaction right now and force them back. Then he'll TP out, create a little bit more space for his team, for them to get farm for this one big Roche fight.
It's kind of reminiscent of how he played the Ember Spirit against Cloud9, where he was just ratting a lot. Now, granted, they were very far behind in that game, but using a Blink Dagger to just get away with murder in terms of his mobility. And going back to the draft, it is a pretty good Storm game here. The catch is not the best for EG. They've got no Hex as of yet. A very long cooldown stun in Black Hole. And maybe is starting to take advantage of that with his map movements.
It's really hard to stop a Storm in this phase of the game when you have to play reactively. There's no single hero that's really going to threaten him anymore. Even if Sumail goes by himself up there, he's probably not going to find the kill. He needs probably at least 2 heroes, maybe 3, and one of them can't be PPD. So you have to expend all of those cores just to deal with the possibility of maybe you kill the Storm Spirit. There's a high likelihood that he goes for the suicide at the same time.
And then also there's the global counterplay.
Yes,
there's the threat that they're all behind him. It is a lot. Oh, PPD, the man caught out mid, maybe just a freebie. You just can't be off on your own against this Storm without knowing where he is.
And that's what we're talking about, because EG showed themselves at top, pushing his 4. PPD shows himself in the mid lane, and maybe he's got the farm to do it. He can pretty much just pop you from full, especially with that DD rune.
14 Bloodstone charges here for the young star. And he just confidently struts up into enemy territory. He's going to sell the bottle now, up to 5k gold. And he picks up a Void Stone. So very likely it could be that Hex. It's going to send a courier out. Oh, do they maybe get a courier snipe here, though? They do have Sumail in the neighborhood. That would be huge. But courier not heading that way just yet.
And Yao actually using it for himself, as maybe says, no, you got to get me my Hex first.
They start fighting over the courier.
They probably just
rage pause the game.
It happens, but now they've got a
even
Hex
pros.
on the Storm.
Even pros.
EG's in a really weird situation right now, LD, because they've still got the mid lane they can push. It's an open, exposed set of racks. They've got the dire side advantage, so they can just commit buybacks over and over again to take the Roshan. LGD can't do the same, but at the same time, LGD can stay split on the map just because the threat of maybe alone is forcing EG to group up, and this means that EG actually have to start going for objectives here, because you don't want to just get out-farmed across the map. And that means the Roshan is going to be the huge fight for them.
It's still neck and neck here in terms of gold, in terms of experience down the stretch. Only a 3k gold lead for EG. It's never been more than 4. And the experience about this has to be the closest game of the main event in terms of the Swains. They've been basically nothing, and no objectives fully claimed yet. Towers, yes. Roche, yes. But racks, no. Fear getting scouted out here by Rocket, but a tough here to focus. They're going to go in now with the hook shot, immediately pushing AUI 2000 back, forcing out the Sumail BKB, after which the global #1 will come out, and Sumail unable to Laguna during this time, maybe up to the high ground, will kill up PPD almost. The snowball going to save him. They snowball their way after the storm, but he stays alive for now. PPD back in for maybe. Walrus Punch, do they have the backup? There's another global at the ready, maybe. Not dead just yet. Laguna and will end up suiciding. So they hold that secondary global. Xiao8 hooked down to the low ground, but he's fighting against Fear, and he can't do it alone. They're going to lose Xiao8 as well. Nobody else in position to help. We didn't get the echo in that fight. The gyrocopter not able to get the job done here for EG. They do hold a global. That was something they'll have for the high ground, and everyone should be up. But Blitz, now they give up an Aegis, and there's still a black hole ready for EG.
Sumail hasn't used the refresher orb yet. He still does have that double ultimate they can instantly use to blow somebody up. At the same time, this time around, Stormseer won't have the buyback available to him. He's just lost the majority of his Bloodstone charges. Sylar has the buyback, but he himself just can't do it against the double ultimate of the Lina.
But Sylar's got gold here. In fact, he's got a Demon Edge in 4000.
I know you want to see it, but
we all want to see it. Certainly an MKB is a solid choice at this point, but it feels like he's going to buy something. Now still sitting on his gold. Guess he wants the buyback.
I think it's the option too. If you win the fight and you just immediately want to go for the throne, he'll have the option of going for the Divine Rapier if he wants. But it's going to be really telling. This next fight, if his team barely squeaks away with it, maybe he feels confident that he can get away with the MKB. But if they just get crushed here or they lose multiple heroes without the Storm having buyback, I think he's almost forced into that situation.
Yeah, it seems like he kind of, like you said, wants to leave his options open. And, well, a lot of it could be because he's not sure what direction Fear goes. Normally, you do see a Butterfly in Phantom Lancer. Up to 6k gold, could pretty much buy it right now if he wants. But has not opted to spend that gold just yet. LGD still maintaining all their racks here. EG do pull ahead a bit after the Roche fight. But it feels like the gold swings we're seeing Blitz, for once there's no bounty hunter in the game, and they're just not gigantic gold swings. It just seems like it's going to come down to team fight execution and objectives for both teams.
I mean, all of these fights are so close. EG win the fight at Roshan. It almost looks like they're going to win the fight in mid. And then all of a sudden, maybe strolls on through, pops his ultimate, gets the triple kill, and evens everything out. Every single time EG get a fantastic fight, LGD just respond in force.
It is a heart here. Fear going ultra tank mode. Now 3,800 health, 28 armor. This guy is gigantic. Very difficult to burst him down.
Yeah, and PPD in that last fight, he was just a monster. He forced maybe to use all of his mana and get the suicide off just so that he could try to kill PPD.
And then Universe with the snowball save
Exactly.
as well.
It just takes him too long to commit. He's going to have to silence PPD, have vision of him when he's got that Glimmer Cape up, hex up Universe maybe? Otherwise, it's just so hard to burst people down. And Universe has that BKB Blink Dagger combination too, so the save potential is really high for his team.
I guess if you're LGD, maybe this is where you want to be more patient with your initiation, try to bait out the BKBs, and then you go with the second global. Because that fight, they had the second global, they just never saw an opportunity to really use it. We'll see an MKB in the end here for Sylar. Still 3,300 gold on top of this. He keeps up in terms of farm, only slightly behind the old man. And EG, with their Aegis, with their cheese, just using this time to farm up. In fact, LGD, the graph actually going a bit their direction since the Roche. But still, neck and neck the teams are down the stretch. It's only game one. And it looks like it could be a long one here. A lot of stress and pressure on both these teams. So maybe we'll now swing towards top. The whole LGD squad starting to 5-man more and more. And we're seeing the same from EG. They just don't want to be off on their own. These teams knowing any pick could be ever so costly.
They're pinging down this bottom lane. I think they do want to use the Roshan though. Like I said, their team is incredibly based on going for the objective. So they're going to send Sumail forward, but it's only 2 minutes left on the Aegis. And they can't really afford to fight without it, because if Sumail dies in the beginning of the fight without using any of his abilities, that'd be so disastrous. But
do you see them actually going bottom when there's already a tower gone mid? Or do you think they rotate here?
I think it's just a positional advantage. You're already on that bottom side of the map. Pushing down mid might make your intentions too obvious to LGD, but if you notice, LGD, they're a little bit late to the draw. They can actually just go mid too.
MMY just sitting in the fountain now, and it's an Ags complete. A lot of damage to come from this. EG, they have not seen this one, Blitz. He's just hiding back near the fountain to ensure he gets the global. But now they initiate. Vision onto Sumail. No globals yet. They're trying to bait out some BKBs. They know there's an Aegis, and the counterplay comes from Sumail, but a Rocket's going to drive him back, maybe. Stun, but no follow-up. Fear. He'll chip with the illusions here. the man in front. There's actually a DD room bottom. Little do EG know would have really helped the siege. As LGD hang back and bide their time, waiting for the easy opening. They still have both globals ready. Very defensive posture, not even showing anybody up near the fight.
The mid lane is going to push in, though.
The Aegis about to expire here, it looks like.
Yeah, they know the Aegis is about to go down right now.
EG just not finding the easy opening. And LGD, maybe they just go in as soon as this is down. Sylar's going to hold the mid lane. They push that one in. Still Heroes Park bottom and nobody committing. Maybe they get a rain tracks out of this. Sumail trying to draw their attention towards the bottom lane as maybe balls in. Everybody just looking to bait spells out. Nobody wants to be the team to go first, but it's Fear sending in the illusions again. Machine gunning down the tower. Sumail just lays into it. They get a ward up on the high ground. Ping's coming out. They will deward this. But already, EG doing the structural damage here, doing it for free. Haven't fully cracked the base just yet, though. That Aegis about to wear out.
Taking a tower and a Rax here is fairly significant, but it doesn't really
And the
change
illusions
game.
are going to go on that range Rex mid. Looks like they will be able to grab it. There's the initiation. Hook. And now they go on to PPD. Global number one. AUI going to cleanse it off there with the Greaves. Looking for the BKB black hole. Is he going to find it? The Black Cannon not doing a whole hell of a lot here. And they even Laguna Sylar once they lose the Earthshaker. Now on to Sylar. EG finding their openings. Another Laguna. Destruction from Sumail and maybe able to ball away. They buy back on the gyrocopter. In that mid lane, the pressure has continued all the while. It might be another range Rex falling here. Fear will get it done. And now EG zero in on a potential double lane of Rex. The melee will drop. LGD, when does their final hold begin? Fear's gonna force it out now, and the ball in comes from maybe. He's not doing any damage. They have another global here, but Sylar's not killing him off fast enough. Snowball baited deep behind the towers as Universe engages. Fear's gonna rush in with the double up, going man mode on Sylar. Maybe just finishing off the tusk for now. Where's the next target?
Showey's dying
Not
at the
yet.
same time.
Not yet. He hooks his way to safety. He hooks his way to safety. Will survive, but it gives Fear the time he needs. He works again on the Rex. EG, eyes on the prize. Objective Gaming. 2 full lanes of Rex now claimed. And it's getting desperate as they go back in with maybe, but the counter could be here. The hook shot did not connect. Call down coming through. Sumail holding on and down the black hole. Again with the Laguna. Sumail just crushing his way through these LG cores, and it's more from Fear. Maybe finally getting off the kill, but that's going to be a long death timer. They need to make something more happen. They silence Poe and Fear. They'll kill him off as well. It's a buyback on the Tusk. But EG, they've got 3 buybacks here. Every core, every hero that's dead can return to the fight. And Blitz, it seems like LGD are going to have to force something now.
I mean, AUI was just so patient the entire game with the black hole. They forget about it for half a second when they use the global silence to try to initiate at the same time. And then all of a sudden, he's right there, perfect positioning all game. LGD, they've used all their buybacks. They don't have enough Bloodstone charges on their Storm to insta-respawn. If they decide to wait and they lose one fight or one core in their base, they lose the game. They have to go for it here.
Keeping an eye on those buybacks as this crucial push mid is going to mount. There are 0 available on LGD. They're all in on this push. Now, there is no black hole, but there's also no global silences. It's basically a death push if they continue to commit down the middle lane. It's win now or lose game 1 for LGD. As long as they stick around. And they're starting to get a bit hesitant. You can see from their movements, backing off, fighting up against a seemingly endless wave of Peel illusions, not committing for anything. And LGD will be rebuffed without even getting to the high ground. This puts them in a grave pit. Like you said, Blitz, just one bad fight, even just one slightly bad pick away from losing this game 1.
I mean, the only person that really uses buyback there on the side of EG was this Universe Tusk. But he's not essential to the base hold.
Well, and the Phantom Lancer.
Yeah, if anything, he's more just of a defensive hero. It's really Sumail. He's got 6,600 gold. He's going to have a Hex completed. Maybe he's gotten away with this greedy build this entire game, but he might just be forced into getting a BKB. He's got that gem, so he still has 1 item slot, but you can't really afford, as a Storm Spirit at this phase of the game, not to have a BKB once Sumail has that Hex. He'll instantly punish you every single time. And EG, their entire team is stacked up.
Look at this, Blitz. A Bloodstone Enigma. AUI is just, he's Scrooge McDuck right now, bathing in gold coins.
It is a good item that he can go for. It could potentially save Fear if he just decides to use a Suicide, because AUI has the buyback readily available for himself. If you win a few fights, you build up some Bloodstone charges, you secure not having to use buyback in the late game. Just a decent choice all around. It's better than relying on the Aghanims to all in on that black hole, but EG, all they have to do right now is siege that top tower And if they happen to catch any of the cores, the game is just over.
Well, Roche is coming soon. In fact, it's in 2 minutes as the rocket flies out. It will scout Fear, who's marching down the middle lane, but it doesn't see the rest of the heroes. LGD are kind of setting up here on the high ground. They're in a decent position, but they allow EG. They allow EG to breach, and now they go in. The hook to counter, though. A beautiful catch by Xiaowei, holding them in position. Sumail throwing himself up in the air, trying to survive. Now the ball in for Maybe. He's found the opening. Where's that black hole? Still holding it. Let it go! But it's canceled immediately. There's the global. AUI is going to follow. Sylar is going to drop next. Maybe could additionally join him as Yao does what he can against Sumail. It's not quite enough. Now they use him again. Where's that stun? They get it, and he's down, not finished. He's out. He's out for 63 seconds with no gyro for 110. EG have done it. They have taken game 1 here against LGD, and the crowd roars their approval here in Key Arena.
What a close game this was the entire game. This is the only phase of the game where there was a 10K net worth lead for EG, but they still managed to do it. This is the first game we might have just seen them go for the push without that vaunted 20K advantage. They said, we feel the advantage in the cooldowns. Our timings are better. EG walk away with the victory.
And they had faith in their execution, the team fights. And you mentioned it, so many great saves by the supports, by the Tusk of Universe.